Wow, how did she get that? She enjoyed it. The crowd love it.
Alexandra Eala has done it again, and this time she did it with real authority. After surviving a long, exhausting, mentally draining battle against Laura Siegemund, a match that pushed every part of her game to the limit, Eala stepped right back onto the court at the Miami Open and delivered one of the most impressive performances of her entire run. Her opponent this time was Magda Linette, a player who entered the match full of confidence after a huge victory earlier in the tournament. But instead of looking tired, instead of appearing emotionally drained, Eala looked sharper, stronger, and more focused than ever. That's exactly what made this victory so special. It wasn't just the fact that Eala won, it was how she won. The control she showed, the calm under pressure, the intelligence in her shot selection, the composure in big moments, and most importantly, the belief she carried from the opening set all the way to the final point. This was not a lucky escape. This wasn't one of those matches where a player simply hangs around and steals the win late. No, this was Eala stepping onto the court with clear intent, playing like she belonged on that stage, and proving once again that her rise in professional tennis is very real. Now, let's put this performance into perspective. Linette came into this match with serious momentum. She had already shown earlier in the tournament that she could challenge big names, and she carried the confidence of a player who truly believed she could go deep into the draw. And when a player picks up a big win like that, it can completely change their mindset.
It gives them confidence. It makes them dangerous. Sometimes it even makes them fearless. But Eala wasn't concerned about any of that. She didn't play the name. She didn't play the storyline. And she certainly didn't play the occasion. She simply played her game. And when Eala plays with that level of clarity and confidence, she becomes a very difficult opponent for anyone on the court. Right from the opening moments of the match, you could already sense where things were heading. Eala came out with authority. She read the court beautifully, stepped into rallies early, and took control instead of allowing Linette to dictate the pace. There was a noticeable difference in energy between the two players. Linette had her moments, no doubt about it. She produced some excellent shots and tried to stay competitive. But throughout most of that first set, Eala clearly held the upper hand. She looked more decisive during the important exchanges, more comfortable under pressure, and far more willing to step forward and take command of points. That first set revealed something important. It showed a player who had learned valuable lessons from the earlier battle with Siegemund. Against Siegemund, Eala had been forced to dig incredibly deep mentally.
She had to remain calm through long games, repeated deuces, sudden momentum swings, and countless pressure-filled moments. That match demanded patience, it demanded emotional control, and it demanded resilience. Experiences like that can have two different effects on a player. They can either completely drain you, or they can make you stronger. In Eala's case, it clearly made her stronger. You could see it in the way she approached the match against Linette. There was maturity in her decision-making, purpose in her movement, and a calmness in the way she managed every point. There was no panic, no rushing, no wasted energy. She looks like a player who had already weathered the storm and come out tougher because of it. So when Eala captured the first set 6-3, the scoreline felt completely fair. It perfectly reflected what had been happening on the court. She had been the better player. She controlled more of the key moments, and whenever Linette tried to create opportunities, Eala stayed composed and closed the door. Most importantly, she sent a very clear message. She wasn't there just to compete. She was there to win. Then came the second set, and this is where Eala's performance became even more impressive. She started strongly once again, maintaining pressure and refusing to give Linette any opportunity to settle into a rhythm. For a moment, it even looked like Ella might run away with the match. She built her advantage by playing aggressive but controlled tennis. When the rallies became tighter and more intense, she consistently found the answers. Her serving was confident, her ground strokes were clean, and the way she constructed points showed clear purpose and intelligence. Linette, to her credit, refused to go away quietly. She kept fighting, she kept pushing, and eventually she managed to claw her way back into the set. And this is exactly the kind of moment where many young players lose control of a match. You spend so much energy building a lead, you begin to feel the finish line getting closer.
And suddenly your opponent raises their level, and the entire dynamic changes. That's when doubt can begin to creep in. That's when frustration can start to build. That is the exact moment when momentum can completely flip in a tennis match. But once again, Alexandra Eala showed just how much she has grown. Instead of allowing Magda Linette's comeback to shake her confidence, Eala stayed composed and continued fighting. She didn't collapse mentally. She didn't start forcing risky, low-percentage shots out of frustration. Instead, she trusted her game. She kept competing, and when the second set reached a tiebreak, it became the ultimate mental test for both players. That moment revealed exactly where they stood, and Eala passed that test brilliantly. In the tiebreak, she looked like the calmer and more focused competitor. Every point had purpose. She handled the pressure with maturity, and when the biggest moments arrived, she made the stronger decisions. Most importantly, she elevated her level. Winning the tiebreak 7-3 wasn't just about taking the set. It was about showing composure. It was about showing maturity. And it was about proving that even after allowing Linette back into the match, she still had the nerve to close things out emphatically. That's a massive sign for any rising player, because talent can win you points, but mentality is what wins matches like this. And if there is one clear takeaway from Eala's run at the Miami Open, it is this: she is becoming mentally stronger with every round. The earlier battle with Laura Siegemund had been an absolute grind. It was the kind of match that forces a player to deal with frustration, fatigue, and pressure all at the same time. Eala survived that challenge, and then she turned around and used the experience from that battle to defeat Linette in straight sets. That tells you something important. It shows that she is learning quickly. It shows that her confidence is becoming more stable. And it shows that she is beginning to understand what it takes to win consistently at this level. Another part of her performance that stood out was her serve.
For a long time, conversations about Eala's game often focused on her potential, her movement, her baseline ability, and the creativity in her shot-making. But in this match, her serve looked like a genuine weapon, and that changes everything. When your serve is earning you free points, when it allows you to start rallies on your own terms, when it helps you escape pressure moments, your entire game becomes far more dangerous. For Eala, that confidence on serve looked like the result of serious work. It looked polished, it looked improved, and it looked like an area of her game that is no longer holding her back the way it may have in the past. That is why this performance feels bigger than just a single victory. This didn't look like a player simply getting hot for one afternoon. This looked like a player putting the pieces together. The physical ability is there, the shot-making is there, her resilience continues to grow, and her confidence keeps building. Even the moments that once seemed vulnerable are now starting to look far more stable. And that is exactly how breakthroughs happen. Not all at once, not in one magical moment, but gradually, match by match, challenge by challenge, until suddenly everyone looks up and realizes that a new player has truly arrived. And now, heading into her next challenge, the excitement around Alexandra Eala is only going to grow. Because once you defeat an experienced opponent after a long 3-hour mental battle, and then return to beat another dangerous player in straight sets, people begin to pay attention, they stop seeing just potential, they start seeing substance. They start recognizing a competitor who is not just happy to be there, but ready to climb even higher. One of the most exciting things about watching Eala right now